Annabelle Hooper and the Ghosts of Nantucket is a wonderfully confusing ride that ends up leaving you with more questions than answers. It is a story filled with intrigue, paranormal activity, and of course, love. And also, unfortunately, these two. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite genres of movies, which is a treasure hunting movie. Now, when I say treasure hunting movies, I'm not strictly talking about movies where they hunt for literal treasure, but you know the vibe. It's your National Treasure, it's your Journey to the Center of the Earth, it's your The Hunters, the type of movies where the characters are following clues and trying to solve this mystery that has been laid before them. But what good is finding a priceless ancient treasure if we don't find love along the way? But we'll get to that later. For now, let's just enjoy Annabelle Hooper and the Ghosts of Nantucket. Now, the basic premise of this movie is that Annabelle Hooper is a writer looking for inspiration on her family's vacation. Her family is vacationing in Nantucket, Massachusetts, and she is hoping to find her inspiration somewhere on this island. And spoiler alert, she does.
Hey, where are you going?
I might not be able to rush inspiration, but nothing can stop me from looking for it.
It's actually the definition of rushing in.
Her and her family arrive on the island and immediately head to the place where they'll be staying. It is this beautiful old house that is absolutely ginormous, and, as Annabelle is about to find out, full of mystery.
How is that for inspiration?
Not bad at all.
So we follow Annabelle as she explores the house, and she ends up discovering this little book with like handwritten notes and clues in it that she picks up from the library and decides to investigate. And it details a mystery surrounding the first owners of the house that they're staying in now. Before she gets too far into that, she ends up enjoying her vacation. She goes to a whale museum with her dad. She bikes around the island. And she ends up coming across a little situation.
Look, it was a zoning violation.
Your life's a zoning violation. That is it.
She sees these kids arguing, and her immediate reaction is to try to step in.
So, what happened?
Now, remember when I said no treasure hunting story is complete without a little bit of a love interest? Well...
Oh, we're late.
See you around.
Yeah, I hope so.
She's not it. Yeah, no. This is Genius. As per usual, I don't remember her name, so she's Genius. Genius is a genius. She's super smart, super good at math, and is apparently super good at building scale models out of sand.
It was the Sankaty Lighthouse. My version was precisely 1/5 in scale, standing at a height of 14 feet. I have a photographic memory. Wow.
Now, before they can talk too much, Genius gets called away and Annabelle ends up heading home. Fast forward to the next day, Annabelle takes her book and she decides to go to the library because there's a picture of the library in her little book. So she goes to the library to try to find some answers about this mystery. Now, one thing I do think is funny is that Annabelle does not take the time to like look through the entire book and like see what's in there and figure out what the author had already figured out about the mystery surrounding her house. She just reads it one page at a time, and every time she reads a page, it points her in the direction of like a clue because the author had also been investigating the same mystery. And if she had just like read the whole thing, she probably would have solved it a lot quicker, because literally she'd be like, maybe this is where the next clue is, and then that's where the next clue would be because the author had already discovered. It doesn't matter. Point is, she follows the book to the library, and who does she meet there but Genius?
You're the girl from the beach.
Yeah, our parents are friends.
So, you're Annabelle?
I am. Now that we've been officially introduced, I need your help.
So, Annabelle fills her in, and after doing some research and reaching a dead end, they decide to go on this ghost tour that is being held that night. And this is where we officially meet Jake.
Remind me again why I'm being forced to participate in this witch hunt.
You're here to keep us safe.
Hi, I'm Annabelle.
I guess I'm here to keep you safe.
Now, remember when I mentioned that no treasure hunting story is complete without finding a love interest?
Only signs of an authentic ghost walk tour.
Well, he's also not it. So, we're moving on. They all go on this tour and they learn almost nothing. They decide that it was kind of a waste of time, but two strange men end up showing up and inquiring about the lady in white. And that piques their interest. So they decide that they need to find out more about this lady in white. However, this wasn't their only discovery during the tour, because this is where we meet not Jake.
We have to get to him when he's not on the tour.
I think I can help. My name's Billy, and I think I know where we can find Silas.
Now, remember when I said that no treasure hunting movie is complete without a love interest? This is it. This one's actually the love interest.
I guess it's a good thing that you didn't actually have to protect me from anything. Not that you couldn't, because you could, if you needed to.
If I needed to, I can do just about anything, even protect you.
Third time's the charm, I guess. And you know what? I can't confidently say that he would be both bidders, but I can confidently say that he is the magician. In fact, not Jake ends up offering to walk Annabelle back to her bike, and then ends up agreeing to join the group the next day to try to solve this mystery.
Go away. We don't want any.
Good, because we don't have any.
So the rest of the movie is basically these four running all over the island trying to figure out who the lady in white is, what she has to do with their house, and why she is haunting the island. And to do this, they end up talking to the ghost tour guide,
All right, you little weasels.
some sidekicks,
Lillian! No. Annabelle.
and some boat ghosts. And all the while, Jake is doing his best to compete with not Jake. Unfortunately, it's not really a competition, and even Jake knows that. Not only is not Jake pretty smooth, but he also has this inexplicable ability to just know things and get into places without anyone noticing him.
Wait, where's Billy?
Come on in.
I thought you said breaking and entering was out of the question.
So he ends up being a huge help throughout this entire process. Whereas Jake is doing his best, but at the end of the day, you know, he's afraid of heights and he's not really committed to solving this whole mystery thing. He's really just here because Annabelle's here, so he can really only be indirectly helpful. Which he is several times. He accidentally discovers several clues, which is quite convenient for everyone involved.
Technically, this is still our vacation, so I'm not really sure if I want to be doing it. I did not do that.
Secret bookcase.
One of his accidental discoveries is this secret, like, bookshelf door cupboard thing where there's a couple pictures and then a little, like, keyhole. Not Jake ends up explaining that the house that Annabelle is staying in was built and owned by the Caulfields. Now, the story of the Caulfields is that Lillian Swan and Captain Caulfield fell in love and were so in love that they could not wait to get married. So, even though Captain Caulfield was scheduled to leave the next morning, they decided to get married, but before he left on his voyage, he gave her half of a locket. So each of them had half of this locket, so they would always remember their love. He leaves and he ends up getting caught in the storm, presumably dying. But Lillian refuses to believe that he's dead, so for 15 years, she stands on the roof of the Caulfield house and waits for his return. Now, no one knows what happens to her or this little child she's holding. After that, apparently she and her son just disappear off the face of the earth, and supposedly she haunts the house to this day. The crazier thing is, Captain Caulfield didn't actually die, and he ended up in this place called Fiddler's Green. And the legend has it that he ended up capturing some of the magic from Fiddler's Green in his locket, and that's how he found his way back home. Unfortunately, when he arrived, Lillian and their son were already gone to who knows where. Supposedly, she died of like a broken heart, but if you die of a broken heart, you definitely are still dead. Like, you didn't disappear. Dead people don't just disappear. I don't know. I don't understand this whole she disappeared part. Like, where did she go? She didn't just disappear. If she died, there would be records of it. But if there's no, so she like ran away? No one knows. Anyways, so Captain Caulfield comes back. He finds out that his wife and son are gone. I don't even know if he had a son, but he leaves them a note just in case they're still out there, still alive. And he leaves them a key as well. So he puts his half of the locket in this like secret cupboard thing, locks it away, and then he heads back off to try to find Fiddler's Green again. And I think he ends up dying on the way. Lots of sea deaths and fake deaths on the sea.
That's so beautiful.
You okay, big brother?
But yeah, it's just like something in my eye, like eyelash.
So that's their story. So Annabelle and the group figure out that in order to open this cupboard, they need a key. So now the only problem is, where is this key? This is when these two strange men come into play. Let me just break down their characters real quick. They're supposed to be like these silly, stupid little henchmen people who are working for this big boss. However, we never see the big boss. Okay, we see the big boss once, but he's like shrouded in shadows. And we don't really know what this big boss wants. Supposedly, he wants to take over the world, and he wants and or needs this supposedly magical locket that is tucked away in a hidden cupboard on the island of Nantucket, Massachusetts, in order to do that. Now, the locket is called the Eye of the Storm, but it only becomes the Eye of the Storm when these two locket pieces are placed together. And unfortunately, this big evil guy doesn't have either of them. And his solution to that was sending these two idiots to go find half of the locket. And it's also never explained how this locket would potentially help him take over the world. It's just a locket. And like, yeah, it's supposedly magical, but the magic, I think, as far as we know, the magic only helped Captain Caulfield find the house. So it doesn't seem very useful unless he's looking for that house. I don't know. I don't understand. They were trying to set up a sequel so that eventually we would find out who this evil bad guy is. But like, they didn't end up making a sequel, so it's all pointless. I don't know what they didn't need these two guys in the movie. There was supposed to be an extra obstacle for Annabelle, and also to help like speed up the timeline of everything. But like, they could have at least been an actual threat. They weren't even an actual threat. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. Like the one time they literally they just throw water on they just throw water on him, and that disorients them enough that the kids can get away. And then the next time they drop something, like it's on them. They drop something. And that distracts them enough that the kids can run away. And then Annabelle is like ringing the giant bell, and instead of like leaving the area that has the giant bell in it, they're both just like, oh no, and they're rendered incapacitated by this really loud bell. And then at like the end, they're in this museum, right? And they followed the kids in there, and they're like, ha ha ha, we caught you guys.
We have it.
I should certainly hope so, after all that.
And the kids' solution to getting away.
If you want the key, you're gonna have to go through us to get it.
Not me. Maybe I can be an alternate or something.
Now!
Get them! Go!
When you're looking down at people, you don't narrow in your like gaze and your focus so that you only see this person and you don't notice anything else, right? That doesn't make any sense. But apparently these guys have severe tunnel vision syndrome because like they literally apparently could not see anyone else. They couldn't see the kids slowly walking away, like completely missed that. They only saw Jake. And then as soon as he stopped talking, they were like, oh my god, we gotta get them, they're getting away. Like, y'all could have just ran to begin with. There was no reason to do all that. You know what? Who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? What?
Yeah, they're the puppies of the sea. Puppies.
Anyways, they end up running into them and they realize that these two, some way, somehow, got a clue that is going to help them find the key so that they can get to the locket. That is going to help them take over the world. Somehow. Now, through some very clever shenanigans, they end up getting this clue, ends up taking them all around the island, to the bell tower, to the lighthouse, and eventually to the ship that Captain Caulfield supposedly died on. Apparently they salvaged the ship and now it just kind of like sails around, I guess. So they end up heading there.
There's a guard. Get down.
This boat scene is one of my favorites because it's so stupid. Like, they're trying to sneak onto this boat, right? But there's a guard watching it. But this guard is like the worst guard ever because literally he walks off the boat and he just walks away.
Come on. Over here. Stay low.
They completely forget that they're sneaking. They're just like standing up, wandering around. At one point, they literally yell to each other like, hey, over here. And like, bro either doesn't care or he's deaf and blind because all he had to do was turn around and you could see 4 kids yelling at each other on the ship.
Guys, I found another heart.
What?
Found a heart.
That's it.
While on the ship, they end up discovering this like locked cabin. I'm assuming this ship is like a tourist thing, but for whatever reason, this area is locked, which is really weird because like the ship crashed. They had to restore the ship. I'm assuming the damage was pretty bad and that they would have had to like rebuild that section of the ship, or at the very least like they would need to get in there to like restore something because like they get in there and there's like knickknacks nicely set everywhere. And I know if they were in a storm and a crash, those knickknacks would be in pieces, shattered, like things would be musty and dusty and gross in there if like no one had been in there. So clearly people have been in there, but for whatever reason it's locked. And you might think maybe it's locked to keep out nosy kids. And you might be right, aside from the fact that somehow the password is a very specific password that really only Captain Caulfield would have known.
If Nantucket is 41 degrees north and 75 degrees west, and Tahiti is 14,650 miles to the southwest, allowing for approximately 60 miles for every degree, that would place Tahiti at 17 degrees south, 149 degrees west.
Okay, so then the numbers are 17149.
Yes.
Like, he's the one who made that password, that combination lock. I strongly doubt anyone else would have known that because like a lot of the crew of the ship died. And also like they went down there and it was just like a pool table. There was nothing down there actually. The only reason that ended up being a clue is because ghosts appeared to them and started singing a clue.
I think that the song is the clue.
What if the ghosts hadn't been there? What if the ship crew who died there didn't want to show up that day and perform? What if they were late? What if they just didn't turn into ghosts? Captain Caulfield had a few flaws in his plan. Speaking of flaws, the the paper that they got from the bad guys, the one that like started this whole journey of, oh, this is how we get to place and how we solve it. He threw that in a bottle, and then he threw that bottle into the ocean, hoping that his son or his wife would find it. He didn't leave it at the house. He didn't say, hey, has anyone seen my wife and son? Do we know where they went? Can you hand this to them if you see them? He just threw it in the ocean. And it didn't even give them all the hints. Like, it led them to the ship, but that was the last place. And then they were supposed to get into that area, I guess. And then Captain Caulfield just hoped that the ghosts of his dead crew showed up and sang to his son, who somehow miraculously found this bottle in the middle of the ocean. And then find his way back to him. So what we're learning is that Captain Caulfield wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. And that's okay. Not everyone is.
He is made out of whalebone.
Let's go to the Athenaeum.
I mean, if we're looking for whalebone, shouldn't we just go to the whaling museum?
You are on a roll.
I have my moments.
As they're leaving, the guard is on the ship, and he's like going into like a different little like cabin thing, and he just again doesn't see him. I don't know who hired him, but they need to be fired. He needs to be fired, and we can fire the person above that person too, because no one's doing their job.
Somebody called the house for you, said she thinks she has something you might need.
Now, before they go to the whale museum, Annabelle receives a message that the psychics have a gift for her. So she goes there, and while she's there, she ends up running into Lillian herself. The ghost of Lillian appears to her and is begging her to help them, because apparently there's a whole bunch of ghosts, I think it's a whole bunch, or maybe it's just her and her family, that are trapped on the island because of something, and in order to escape, they need the Eye of the Storm to be reconnected before the end of the full moon, which, by the way, is that night.
We cannot escape our time unless a door is opened by somebody between the waxing gibbous and the full moon. The full moon fades in a matter of hours.
Now, this begs the question, how does this magical trinket that released ghosts from our world into the spirit world or the afterlife or whatever, how does that help you take over the world? We may never know.
For you.
So after Lillian appears to her, the psychics hand her this like little bag, and technically we don't know what's inside it, but surprise, surprise, spoiler alert, it's a key. It's a key, but it's not the real key, it's a fake key.
Where do you think the key is?
Let's split up and have a look.
So they go there, they end up finding the key in a ship or something like that. It was like a plank of wood, but I think it was supposed to be part of a ship. And it just happened to have the date that Captain Caulfield may have returned to the island. She ends up finding it in this little hidden compartment that has a little heart over it. And it's the same heart that Captain Caulfield had been carving all over the island, anywhere he left a clue.
This is the key to unlock the Eye of the Storm. We have it.
Also, while we're on vague clues and Captain Caulfield and his terrible planning skills again, what are the odds? I'm sorry. One of the clues was the lighthouse, right? And the clue was that when you look at a certain area, his little heart points to a location on the island, and that location is like his ship that he crashed on. Now, I don't know how quickly they rebuilt this ship, but what are the odds that that ship is like there at all? What if, let's just use our imagination for a second. What if his son somehow finds this message in a bottle, right? And he starts following the clues to try to get this key so that he can unlock the secret cupboard that I don't even know if he knows exists, but we'll say he knows. And he manages to go to the lighthouse and he manages to find the little symbol. But what if the ship isn't there? What if the ship is like out and about? Now his poor son is at a dead end. He can't find his dad because his dad hid the key. Also, what a random place to hide the key. How would his son know to go to this museum? And if that plank of wood that may or may not be part of a ship wasn't in the museum, where was it? And how was his son expected to find it so that he could find him so that also, what if someone had bought the house by the time his son found this message in a bottle? What if they didn't let him in to like get the secret cupboard and the key and like listen, this this episode was not supposed to be about Captain Caulfield and his poor planning skills. But that's about to be the title because, oh my god, this man did not think things through. It's a miracle anyone was able to figure out any of this. I mean, it took 200 years, but even so, that's like impressive. Even more impressive that some evil guy discovered this like weird situation going on here and was like, I can use that to take over the world. You know what I can do with that? Take over the world. Anyways. So they go and they find the key and they end up getting cornered by these two on the ship, right? For whatever reason, instead of running home or running to the parents or running to the police, actually, they did run into her parents. They ran into her parents. She hands her dad the real key and she keeps the fake key. She's not like, hey, dad, two strange grown men are chasing us and I think they wish us harm. Perhaps we should go to the authorities. Doesn't cross her mind. What does cross her mind is to go running to the ship.
Billy, come with me.
So they end up on the ship and she looks at Jake and Genius and she's like, you guys guard the ship, not Jake. You come with me. And so her and not Jake walk like, I don't know, 20 feet away. I don't know what her plan was. They just kind of stand there and then she pulls out his necklace, which is kind of invasive and rude. But whatever, she pulls it out and she realizes it's half of a locket. And she's like, you're a ghost. And he's like, a ghost. Now, how ghosts work is a little weird in this universe because the boat ghosts, they were like translucent and blue, but like ghosts can also just look like real human beings. Like earlier at the very beginning of the movie, she sees one of the boat ghosts and he's just like fully a real person. Like he's not blue, he's not ghostly, he's just a guy. And then later she ends up talking to Lillian and she's also not blue or see-through, she's just a regular person. And this whole time, not Jake is just looked like a regular person. He's not blue and see-through. He's just a dude. So I don't know if they can control it. I don't know. But ghosts are real. And her main love interest is one of them. So before she can fully process that her main love interest is in fact a ghost. The two guys catch up to them. They catch up and they're like, give us the key.
You take one more step towards me or my friends, and I'm throwing the key into the ocean.
And they're like, whoa, whoa, let's not get hasty. And Not Jake is like, yeah, let's not get hasty. That's the only way that we can be set free. Me and my mom and my dad can be reunited and set free from this mortal plane that we've been trapped in for 200 years. So let's not do anything hasty. The bad guys actually don't do anything, but she ends up throwing the key anyways. And they dive after it into the ocean.
Come on, don't ask any questions.
She's genuinely lucky that these two men were not like more violent and like didn't just like run up and like grab them or something, or like carry weapons and like actually threaten to like, because if they had just run up and like grabbed the kids, what was she gonna do about it? Like, yeah, they would still have a fake key, but there would also be 4 injured kids or dead kids. So not a great plan, but it ends up working out. For whatever reason, the sidekicks know what's going on somehow, and they walk up with some police officers and they just point. They point to the two guys.
There they are! Go get them! Those are the men trying to take over our island!
In what world are these police officers gonna believe that these two random men who are in the ocean for some reason are trying to take over the island? Even if they were trying to take over the island, what proof do you have that they're trying to do this? Nothing. They have no proof that these two men are trying to take over the island, particularly because they're so bad at it. But also, what are you going to tell the police? Well, these two guys, you know, they're running all over the island. They've been asking lots of questions. You know, they've been looking for stuff and items and clues. And they're hoping these clues lead them to a magical item that is going to help their boss take over the world and them take over this island. Also, ghosts are real. And maybe they're the ones who told me all this. They're never gonna believe you. But I guess these two police officers did. They're like, yep, ma'am, thanks for letting us know. We're gonna arrest these men immediately. We have actually 0 grounds to arrest them aside from the fact that they have horrible fashion choices and are currently swimming in the ocean for some reason. But, you know, unfortunately, I don't think those are crimes punishable by law. But they should be, because those shorts are atrocious.
My dad also tried to solve the same mystery when he was my age. It was his journal.
So Annabelle and the crew head back to the house and they unlock the cupboard and they get the half of the locket and they put the lockets together and poof! Not Jake and his mother and father are all reunited. Now, I don't know where his dad had been this whole time. Maybe the magic of the locket brought him back to the house and back to the island. Because like he died at sea and he didn't have his locket. And he hasn't been haunting them. Like the only person who's been haunting them is Lillian. She's been haunting the house. And then Not Jake has just been like chilling with them, but we haven't seen Captain Caulfield, so I don't know. It was the magic of the locket, we'll say.
I'd like you all to meet my parents. My name's William. William Caulfield.
And no one introduces themselves back. They don't say anything to them actually, which is really rude. So everyone heads back to the ship, and Annabelle and Not Jake have a tearful goodbye. I don't know how much Not Jake actually liked Annabelle. It seems like he has quite a bit of a crush on her, but also he might have just been using her to help get him and his mom out. But I mean, he gives her a kiss, sort of, so that's nice. So the Caulfield family sails off on a ghost ship with the ghost crew, I think. And supposedly they head off to the afterlife. or something like that. I don't know.
Here, Billy gave me this to give to you.
Thank you.
Don't mention it.
And yeah, the family's vacation is over at that point. They spent all week doing that. They head back, and now Annabelle is inspired. And bam, there you go. Everything is solved, everything is fixed. The evil bad guy has been defeated, the ghosts are off living their ghostly lives. Annabelle has a story, and Jake, unfortunately, still does not have a girlfriend. Actually, no one got a significant other, actually. But that's okay. Maybe next time. That's the story of Annabelle Hooper and the Ghosts of Nantucket. It's a fun little movie. It's cute. I really enjoyed it when it first came out. There are so many movies that I watched when I was younger that I kind of forgot about, and it has been so much fun going back and exploring them with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy listening to them. If you do, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, lovelies!
Mom! Annabelle! Mom! What are you doing? Freaking myself out. That's what's going on. You're freaking me out.
He heads back off to try to find Greenfield Village.